Vandeham
Hare Krishna. Welcome, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're back again with another wonderful session from this wonderful book, The Bond of Love. And it's our great honor and privilege to welcome today Her Grace Guru Charan Padma Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Guru Charan Padma Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hi, please don't mind. Thank you so much for having me on this wonderful platform.
Thank you.
I lean in and everything. It's like, yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Such an honor to hear from you and to have you on this platform, to be able to interview you like this. So we're very grateful that you've accepted this invitation. I want to mention, for the sake of our viewers and for the future generations that might be watching this when maybe I'm not on this planet, I hope it's still retained here. We have Guru Charan Padma Prabhu here with us. She was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1977. And what a life. She was born in a Jewish family, a family of Jewish faith. She's traveled through Israel. I want to hear a lot more about that story. She's served Srila Prabhupada's movement in so many different capacities. She was one of the best book distributors. She was a principal, a teacher at Bhaktivedanta Manor, and she's raised wonderful children who have taken such deep and active interest in Krishna consciousness. I know, I read in your book that you haven't really met Srila Prabhupada in person, but your life is an example of you seeing Srila Prabhupada every single day through distributing his books and raising such a wonderful family. Please tell us a little bit about, this young girl born in a family of Jewish faith. How does she end up in Israel? Tell us a little bit about yourself before we begin our conversation.
Sure. Well, first of all, I feel like I don't know how it was I got in the book. I know when Malati asked me, she said, "Oh, you want to come and interview?" And I'm like, I didn't really have any personal association with Srila Prabhupada. And I almost feel like I snuck in the back door. And I was one of the last bunch of disciples to be initiated by Srila Prabhupada. I feel so grateful for that. And because of that, I've always just clung on to the feet of my beautiful God sisters, to guide me and help me along the way. But yeah, I was since I was a teenager, I was, searching, trying to understand a little bit about who I was. I used to look in these mirrors and, in my family bathroom, we would make like a kaleidoscope of my faces, and I'd be like, who am I? And where did I come from? And, so this burning kind of sense of wonder and searching. I actually attended a faith school, a Jewish faith school. But because for whatever reasons, my family were not practitioners. And that's one thing that I've always stressed to parents who are sending their children to a Krishna conscious school, that you need to practice what your children are, being taught at school. So it caused me to question a little bit, like, you're sending me to this school, but you're not actually practicing the faith. I don't see, any signs or any discussions of spiritual matters. So I started my own little search, and I was reading very broadly, the Bible and Buddhist teachings, and Be Here Now by Baba Ram Das, and The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and so many things, just searching, doing a little bit of meditation. Then I embarked on a transcendental meditation course, through Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. But even that wasn't satisfying because, I did it with a friend, and it turned out We both had the same mantras, even though they were supposed to be secret, individual. So, you know, a little bit of disappointment there. So I was at university and I just decided I'm going to take a year out and go and travel to Israel and try and really, you know, dive deeply into my own faith, maybe work some time on a kibbutz and try to find answers, you know, to things questions I had. So on the way, of course, we went because I was from Canada, and I never traveled beyond North America. Europe was, you know, somewhere far beyond. So we went to travel in Europe first, and the first place we stopped was not England, even though I ended up here for the last 40 years. But the first place was Amsterdam, and there on the street, I got a Bhagavad Gita and a Back to Godhead magazine by a devotee. So I was staying in Amsterdam, I think, for about a month, you know, just kind of working and staying in this, you know, hostel. And when I started reading that Bhagavad Gita, oh my gosh, it just, all the questions that I had, you know, about the soul and, you know, the body and who I was and God, even that God was a person named Krishna, which was kind of quite foreign to my own faith, but it just kind of it would just soothe my heart, touch my heart. And even I had the, right then and there, I accepted Srila Prabhupada. I had this Back to Godhead magazine with this beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada. And I would worship it every day. I would pray to him every day. I didn't know anything about the movement, like I'd never met any other devotees or visited any ISKCON center. But I was with a girlfriend from Canada, and we were on our way to India. Well, first we went around Europe, and everywhere we went on this, we had a Eurail pass, which was a pass that, you know, takes you by train to every city. And, you know, it was a very mystical thing, but quite often, very often, when our train would stop on a platform at a train station, we would hear the Harinam. The devotees would be there chanting. I was like, gosh, I never encountered this before, someone trying to tell me something. So this, you know, seed of bhakti had been awakened within my heart, and I didn't really know what to do about it. But we carried on to Israel. And I think it was the second or third night I was there. I was staying with some relatives. And there was a huge, like, rainstorm, thunder, lightning, and I just had this, like, epiphany, like, I have to go and find Srila Prabhupada. I have to go to Vrindavan. I need to go to Vrindavan. I'd been reading then, you know, the Bhagavad Gita, these articles in the Bhakti Godhead magazine. So I had to break the news to my dear friend, who, unfortunately, she still talks to me today. But yeah, I said, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to leave you, and I've got to go on my own way, on my own journey. And so I went back from Israel to Greece, and somehow caught this magic bus, which was then kind of a hippie bus that traveled overland from Greece all the way to India through, you know, Turkey, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Yeah, I think those were all the countries we went through. It was pretty wild. It was pretty wild. And I think it took about 2 or 3 weeks. It was quite scary because, you know, there were all sorts of people on there, and drugs, and, you know, it was a bit scary going through 4 of these countries. But anyway,
how old were you? How old were you?
19 years old. And of course, yeah, my parents, they didn't know what was going on. But when I finally got to Vrindavan, and I met a friend along the way, and you know, he came with me to Vrindavan, and it was the height of the summer, and just before the monsoons, and you're from India, so you know what that's like. It was very, very hot, and it was 1975, and it was actually the year that the Krishna Balaram temple had opened in Vrindavan. In April was the opening of the Krishna Balaram temple. You know, that beautiful picture with all, you know, Prabhupada with all his disciples outside. I didn't know that. I had an old Back to Godhead magazine, and it had the old address of the Radha Damodar temple in it. And of course, here's two people arriving in Vrindavan. We were wearing Western clothes. It was like 130 degrees or something like that. And we just told the rickshaw driver, can you take us to this address? Now, he didn't tell us about the ISKCON temple. Somehow, they say you can't buy a ticket to Vrindavan. So I think somehow my desire wasn't strong enough. He took us to the Radha Damodar temple, but it was the deities were shut. It was the afternoon. The deities were shut, and there was just one chowkidar there, sleeping on a bed. And they got up and offered us water, but they said, "Oh, if you want to stay, till the deities open." But my friend, another friend I was with, and it was too warm and too uncomfortable, and we were also being, hassled, like as you do sometimes in India when you're white and you got Western clothes on. So we didn't stay, and no one told us about the ISKCON temple. So unfortunately, I didn't have that, because I think maybe that was July, and I think maybe Srila Prabhupada was there at that time, but I missed that opportunity. It wasn't meant for me at that time. I went all the way back to Canada, and then I visited the temple in Winnipeg, which is where I'm from. And it's a very conservative place. And I walked into the temple and I said, I've just been to Vrindavan. So they were kind of like shocked. And also, just kind of pounced on me. Wow, we've got a new bhakti here. She just been to Vrindavan. Unfortunately, it was a wonderful little temple. And many of the devotees that were there, I am still friends with today, 45 to 50 years later. But I didn't join at that temple. It was too close to home. And I later, that temple disbanded. I moved to Minneapolis, and then they disbanded there, and then moved to Chicago. And I finally caught up with them in Chicago, where I did join the temple. I just had enough of trying to enjoy the material world. I would be dreaming of the devotees. I was really feeling separation from the temple and the temple environment, and especially the association with the devotees. So somehow, by Krishna's arrangement, all those devotees from Winnipeg ended up in Chicago. And so that was where Kishore Kishori gave me shelter. And of course, we were waiting for Srila Prabhupada to come. He was on his way, what turned out to be his final journey through London to North America. But of course, when he got to London, he turned back to Vrindavan. So that's how it was, and I still did get it by him, but not in his physical presence.
Amazing. It's
77, and
wow, really amazing to hear a 19-year-old's quest for Krishna consciousness or spirituality at that point of time. It just, Srila Prabhupada was sending people your way constantly.
I was very stubborn. I would say I was a hard nut to crack. hard nut to crack. The one thing I did do is when I went back to Winnipeg, and I'd been attending the university there, I had, Satsvarup Maharaj and his library party had placed sets of books in all the universities in North America. I don't know about all the universities, but with my library card, and I kind of withdrew myself from the program, but I still had the library card. I was able to take out the whole set of Chaitanya Charitamritas and other books and read. So that was just incredible opportunity. So I associated to the Prabhupada and through the books. That way we were going to temple.
Beautiful. Just yesterday I was listening to a lecture and how the book Bhagavad is not different than a person Bhagavad.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I cannot deny the fact that you are seeing Srila Prabhupada every single day. Of separation just makes it so much sweeter, when you're expressing that
I guess my life in Krishna consciousness has always been in the mood of separation from Srila Prabhupada. And I gather bits of nectar, through associated with my god sisters. And I've been very fortunate in that regard. And, yeah, I have some very, very dear friends, and they've shared so much with me. And that's really the way it should be, that we're they're my elders, and I consider them my elders, although they're like my sisters, but they are my elders. And Krishna's given me so many opportunities in this life of bhakti to have their sweet association and to learn from them and to imbibe the mood of Srila Prabhupada. So that has been such a great blessing in my life.
That is such a beautiful thing that you mentioned. I used to like photography, and there was a wonderful realization that I got. Every time I put an extra lens, I was putting those zoom lenses, and I was taking a picture of the deities. And every time I was putting another lens, the deities got closer and closer and closer. And I was thinking that's exactly how Krishna consciousness is.
It is.
The more devotees you have, it seems that Krishna becomes closer and Srila Prabhupada becomes closer. And I feel that in your presence, your dedication and devotion to Srila Prabhupada is beyond what I can express in words here. I wanted to ask you, what is it about Srila Prabhupada that convinced you that this is it? I'm going to dedicate my life to this person, to the movement, to the mission.
Of course, first for me it was the philosophy, that I was seeking, and then just hearing from God's system. I guess it was just the welcome and the hospitality of those who were representing Srila Prabhupada. The welcome and love. That, I was attracted by this idea of simple living and high thinking. In fact, I was actually on my way to New Vrindavan when I stopped in Chicago. But somehow, before I left Chicago, they said, "Oh, you just got to go and experience the sankirtan at O'Hare Airport. You have to go and do that." And I did do that. And somehow or other, by Krishna's grace, I was not me, but God, Krishna blessed me to be able to distribute books, which I'm quite a shy person, and it was but I got a taste. Got a taste for giving Krishna to others, and I got a taste of the power of the books and the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, sharing it with others. So, definitely, and hearing about Srila Prabhupada and seeing videos and listening to him, I got a sense of how he was able to deliver such deep wisdom, but with so much compassion and humor as well. So, yeah.
Such a beautiful point you make there. Getting taste for giving Krishna consciousness to others. Wow.
Yeah, it was the magic that I experienced, really. When we're in a position of, and it's very tough, either being on the street sankirtan as we did in those days, or being in the airport, which is a place which is very, very passionate, and to stop people who were it wasn't easy, and we had to deeply, deeply pray to Srila Prabhupada to help us to be an instrument in his service, in his mission. And it was kind of like, Krishna, please protect me, please empower me to somehow be able to distribute these books. And I was very focused. I kind of, by the time I joined the temple, I just dove in and just wanted to immerse myself completely. So I remember it's so funny because when I joined the temple in Chicago, some of the ladies there wanted to get married. They of course had been around for a few years, and they, brahmacharinis, and they wanted to get married, and I was like, we're all in Maya, you just got to absorb yourself in service and you be peaceful. And so I was like a little bit fanatical, but at the same time, I kind of went out on sankirtan with one pointed, kind of desire to please Srila Prabhupada. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada was reading the sankirtan newsletters. So we knew that if we got our names onto the newsletters, maybe we would please him, by the amount of books that we distributed. So, yeah, I was just surrendering and feeling that reciprocation and also that protection from Srila Prabhupada. We had so many adventures, and sometimes we got arrested, and sometimes, we met incredible people, but at the whole time, we felt, we were praying, and we felt Srila Prabhupada, his protection, and the whole parampara, we felt their blessings as well upon us. It really felt like that, that we were a part of something much bigger than just being in a little airport distributing books.
Wow. Such a beautiful point you made that you felt the protection and reciprocation from Srila Prabhupada. Just imagine, even without seeing him, just please him. So, for the future generations to come, all we have is memories. Books, of course, as the person Bhagavat. I was wondering, what is that one quality of Srila Prabhupada? I know that he's an ocean of qualities, different devotees. But sometimes there's one quality that really, really touched us deeply.
I guess, well, for me now especially, but also throughout the struggles, and it's not like, as Krishna consciousness is, Krishna sends all kinds of challenges to help us to grow and to learn. And they come in so many different ways. But, reading about Srila Prabhupada's life and his determination, his courage, through so much adversity to fulfill the instructions of his guru. I mean, that, and especially now for us older devotees, I'm not even at the age Srila Prabhupada was when he left India to come to America. And so, the bodies, the joints are going, and the memory's going, and it's just inconceivable. I mean, it's just that determination and courage that Srila Prabhupada had to fulfill the order, to have compassion on us, to bring these teachings to the Western world. It's incredible. And I think that for me, whenever I'm going through a hard time, I just think, gosh, this is nothing what I'm going through compared to what Srila Prabhupada went through, to bring Krishna consciousness to the West. So I think that for me really stands out.
Determination, wow, really.
Determination, courage, because, we're not just, it's not just about our own personal sadhana. This movement and Srila Prabhupada's mission was really to share Krishna consciousness with others. And you need to have courage to do that. Even, approaching someone on the street, or, giving prasadam to someone at work, or in whichever way we wish to share, we need to have courage to do that. So many examples of, like when devotees kind of stepped out of their comfort zone. And, I could tell a few, we don't have time now, but I could tell a few stories as well of when, we actually stepped out of our comfort zones and just kind of took a leap of faith, and just, as I said before, felt the blessings and the protection and the guidance of the parampara behind us, pushing us forward, and we saw the magic happen. So yeah, I think courage is a big one, because I'm actually quite a shy person. So it was nothing to do with me, like in terms of distributing books. I just pray to have the words, as I still do. I still pray have the courage, because, as you get older, you get a little bit more in a comfort zone. But we have to remember that Kali Yuga is progressing at a very fast rate. The world is in such a state at the moment. And so, Srila Prabhupada would not be just sitting idle. He spent the 12 years, in the West and traveling around the world, just full on all the time. So it's not that we can't have a balance, but we need to have the courage and determination to also still be out there doing something to share Krishna wisdom with others. Krishna, the love, the bhakti, everything, the kirtan, whatever it is.
Wow, really beautiful. Yes, courage and determination. Such a lesson. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Your life has been you've a life of devotion. Chicago, you've been this book distributor, and then you took on the service of giving Krishna consciousness to young children, to the second generation to come. And tell us a little bit about this transition when you moved to, was that in the UK? I know in Bhaktivedanta
Well,
Manor.
actually, yeah, I was sent to the UK, and I didn't want to go because we had such a sweet family, a little temple in, well, it wasn't so little, but by Bhaktivedanta Manor standards, it was little, but it was we were a lovely team, all focused on, the same things, even though some of us were doing different services. I was sent to the UK as part of the ladies' sankirtan party, and it was a huge transition for me because I've had a lot of independence in Chicago to kind of not do what I want, but to serve on the sankirtan party in the way that I wanted, the hours that I wanted, and different things. But I grew to really relish and appreciate the sisterhood and the sangha of the ladies on the sankirtan party. We lived in London, near the temple. Well, not that close to the temple, but we would be out on the streets of London every day. So that was a new experience. We would visit the Radha Londoneshwara temple every day. But later we moved near to Bhaktivedanta Manor, and we had a little ashram there. And I just wanted to put in not a little plug, but it's actually, I know there aren't many ladies ashrams around the world. We do have one here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, and it's just a wonderful facility for ladies to learn, to associate, to gain knowledge. That they do Bhakti Shastri and they have sabbaticals and all that. And it's very sweet, because we grow through association. It's something that because I'm now one of the what do you call it? I'm on the brahmacarini council at Bhaktivedanta Manor, so I support the brahmacarini ashram, and I find it, for me, in my personal growth and development and my relationship with Srila Prabhupada, it helps me so much because, seeing new people take up Krishna consciousness and with a fresh perspective and the enthusiasm that they have, it really also helps us to deepen our faith in what Srila Prabhupada's given us, because we see, the process all over again through someone else. But anyway, yeah, we ended up near Bhaktivedanta Manor. We had a very sweet action. Some of my dear god sisters, like Sarvamangala Devi Dasi, you had her interviewed a few weeks back, and Manjuali, I don't know if you've had her, but we had Kamaduk, who's my Sankirtan leader. Anyway, they're all very, very special devotees, and gave me so much encouragement, and they were so much embodied what Srila Prabhupada, the love and compassion and all that. But one special opportunity we had in between our, intensive Sankirtan service was, I think it was once a month, we would visit the ashram of Yamuna and Dinatarine, and they lived about half an hour from the manor at that time with their deities, Sri Sri Radhamana Vihari. And so our team of Sankirtan girls we would go up to their ashram and we would all be engaged in different services that they would engage us and teach us how to do. Some of us would get to cook with Yamuna, or some of us would get to polish the brass and just see the incredible detail and devotion, that these ladies, how they lived a life of bhakti and joyously as well. And then we would spend the day doing that, and then we would honor prasadam. Yamuna would serve us herself, and then she would read to us about Srila Prabhupada, or she would speak to us about Srila Prabhupada. And then sometimes we would do some plays, and we would have laughs, and it was a very special time in my life, and a very special gift that we developed these relationships with Yamuna and Divatarine. So that was something that stays with me to this day. Yeah, really had an influence not only on my life, but on my daughter Jani's life as well. Because Yamuna was definitely someone who embodied bhakti in just everything she did. And she was an example of someone who lives bhakti so joyfully. So that was a special time for us.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's actually visualizing, if the detail how detail oriented she was, and many
Yeah.
brought Father Yamuna up here on the show, and it's we've been seeing and knowing her more through your eyes and through your talk. How did you?
You're asking me about the miracle of the children. I didn't get to that. I'm so sorry about that.
No,
I just put that in because then eventually I got married, and with having children, it was kind of a natural. My husband and I were engaged also in the what we called the Nama Hatta program, which was the follow up of all the contacts that we were making on sankirtan, all the names, we take names and addresses, and that was really wonderful service as well, because we were bringing people together, we were helping them to take next steps in their spiritual life, and it was really satisfying. We carry on doing that to this day, not officially but unofficially. So after having the children, and then when the children started school, it was kind of a natural thing. And I guess I kind of started realizing that actually I had an attraction to education, and I had understood and seen videos of how sweet Srila Prabhupada was with the children. He would be giving out cookies, and he was concerned for their development and their education, and he understood that they were the next generation. So I wanted to, ensure that my children, I was selfishly did it for my children at first, that they would have a wonderful experience in Krishna consciousness, growing up in Krishna consciousness. And I have to say, I'm so grateful for the community of Bhaktivedanta Manor, because I don't know if they would be where they are today without all the aunties and uncles, and as they say, it takes a village to raise children. So it wasn't just me; they had so many opportunities to. They went to school at the manor, so it's kind of like their home, and or part of their kind of backyard. And I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, it just gradually. I kind of started teaching, and it's just kind of a pleasure, because I know I see my dear god sister Jagadatri's on this or watching, but she's been engaged in the nursery education at Bhaktivedanta Manor, and she's a very senior Prabhupada disciple who I learned so much from. But she's been serving. She taught my children, she taught Janavi, she taught Tulsi, she taught all my children in the nursery. And so what's so beautiful is seeing the children naturally take to Krishna consciousness. naturally, like I think my kids, the first word Prabhupada, and then they just love the kirtan. And actually, kirtan is the rhythm of kirtan is part of a development of phonics in children and learning to speak. And we find many devotee children are excellent readers and very good speakers because something about the rhythm of the mantra. So yeah, I gradually, had the responsibility of, working as well with my god sister Lakshmi to, keep the school strong. And we had many wonderful years, and it was really a labor of love. Definitely, it was challenging sometimes, but it's really I still really love working with children, and sharing. Sometimes I used to do before lots of different things, festivals with like special children orientated festivals, so children get the most out of it. But there's so many devotees doing so many things now. But I tried to do what I could, when the children were young, and yeah, sing lots of music, songs, and that's so wonderful that Srila Prabhupada's given us, every intensity we have and every avenue we have of like arts and drama, we can engage it all in Krishna consciousness. So yeah.
That is amazing. So beautiful. Beautifully said. I was thinking, introducing the young children to Krishna consciousness. How is it that, your children, Janavi, Tulsi, your wonderful son, I forget his name, but I've
Namamali, yeah.
Namamali. But Tulsi, I have seen personally, as I've known her, and Janavi is, of course, known by all her beautiful music and her life of devotion. It's so inspirational to see second generation take up to Krishna consciousness with such dedication and devotion. What is a message that you would like to give the younger generation, second generation of devotees that join the movement when they're young? At the same time, how can they develop a deep relationship with Srila Prabhupada? Do you think it's important to develop that deep relationship with Prabhupada, and how can we do that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think personally, like with my own children, I didn't force them to do anything. And I think, I would advise any parent, don't force your children to chant or don't. It's not like, obviously we followed the principles and the values were all there, but I think it was mostly through modeling. We not only modeled our practice, our the wonderful practice that Srila Prabhupada gave us, chanting Hare Krishna morning program. But the other thing was that we were, as I mentioned, we were doing all this outreach activity. So we were, traveling to towns and villages and having programs. And we would bring the children with us, but we would help them to have an adventure. It was like an adventure. We would go and experience different things. And wherever we were, we would, visit the parks or the town, places of special interest. So I think they somehow imbibed a little bit of the outreach, which is what Srila Prabhupada, as I was mentioning, it's not just our own practice, but it's about sharing. And I think they imbibed a little bit of that, just, somehow, osmosis or something. So that was a really wonderful thing. I think obviously for the next, yes, I mean, all of us are saying for the next generation. It's not just for the next generation. We want Srila Prabhupada and his mission and Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness to be for many, many generations to come. So it is really, really important that we keep Srila Prabhupada in the center because he's the captain of our ship. And as you know, if he's steering us, properly, through his guidance and his teachings and his direction. But if we, steer off course even by a few degrees, we're going to head off and not end up where we want to be. It's important for us to remember that he's our founder acharya, and that what he's what what pleases him, and that is through reading his books, through sharing the knowledge, and through having the courage to share it with others. I think it's important for them. Yesterday we were having a birthday celebration for my god sister Sarvamangala. There were a few of us on the call, and Janavi was sharing something very deeply. She said she was at a particular center, and they were having a Vyasa Puja celebration for Srila Prabhupada. And, she had experienced like what we do at the manor, that she had learned through the Prabhupada disciples, how we make, so many preparations and we make lots of decoration. And she said in that particular place, she was saying, come on, we have to, because she had learned it from, Sarvamangala and, all the god sisters. We have so many Prabhupada disciples here in the UK. So, it is really important to understand for them, how to actually apply the teachings in their daily lives, how to celebrate the festivals, just not to, to keep on course with what Srila Prabhupada gave. I think, because you mentioned about the different what we were mentioning about the camera and the different lenses. So I feel really encouraged when I see the young people actually making a commitment. It actually helps me to deepen my relationship with Srila Prabhupada, to see that on their own, the next generation, they are actually really enthusiastically and powerfully, delivering this message of Krishna consciousness to others through kirtan and courses and discourse and podcasts. It's so inspiring, and they're choosing this on their own. They're making this choice because, as I said, we never forced them to be devotees of Krishna. They could have chosen, I don't have to be Christian or Jewish or whatever, or just to be, who knows, But they must be feeling, also the reciprocation from Srila Prabhupada. And we have to remember that the grandfather is more merciful, more kind, So, it's really important for them to remember the grandfather, the great-grandfather, and to be connected. And, it's not like you were mentioning about lenses, being connected to the parampara, it brings you closer to Krishna. So, this was the paradox that Srila Prabhupada talked about. He said, it's not that the guru stands between you and Krishna, but he's not blocking you. He's a transparent medium helping you to see Krishna more. So the fact that many of these young people are taking initiation, and I think they should understand, those who haven't or are thinking about it or working towards, that being connected to the parampara, it actually helps, doesn't block your spiritual life, but it's actually going to open the doorway, to Srila Prabhupada and the rest of the parampara. So it is really encouraging to see that they are taking those steps. And believe me, when you get plugged in, I was reading the other day that Srila Prabhupada said, it's like it's like being plugged into electricity, he said, that goes for thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. So, being connected to the parampara, taking a step to, take initiation from one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, that really, puts the charge, really, and sparks start flying.
Here we have so many wonderful comments coming in. So here we have Purnamasi Prabhu. She's saying, so wonderful to hear your story of coming to Krishna consciousness, the development of your service and relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Just hearing about your life and your dedication to Srila Prabhupada, and was through service. You were expressing your gratitude to Srila Prabhupada through service through all these years. It's so inspirational.
Yeah, I think service is something that happens over a lifetime, and we can only express that as gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, and we feel his reciprocation. And yesterday, as I mentioned, I was on this birthday call with some dear friends that we've served together, in some way or other over the last 45, 50 years. And it's something very, very special serving and developing such incredible and deep relationships with devotees. Um, whether they're Prabhupada disciples or, just, bhaktis, whatever, but just serving together and keeping. I said yesterday, Srila Prabhupada he's the thread that, keeps us all together, and through service, we share. It's such an adventure, Krishna consciousness. So,
It's so beautiful. Srila Prabhupada is a thread that keeps all these beautiful pearls together, really. The relationships that you've been talking about constantly, I've been hearing through this little talk that we're having here, your gratitude for your god sisters and your family has been just very inspirational for me on a personal level. You've been expressing that constantly, even about raising the children, about your own personal growth. And mentioning about the birthday party, these meaningful relationships are
I
just
call it sweet sisterhood. I call it sweet sisterhood, and I think like now, we have a little reading group. I mean, now I'm serving so much that I didn't have a chance to really dive deeply into Srila Prabhupada's books. Over the years of raising children and service, and so with my friends and god sisters, we have this little Srimad Bhagavatam reading group, and in the beginning, the philosophy, it's like primary colors and big building blocks, and yeah, you get it, but it's but now we're just like getting into the real subtle, and just it's incredible, the relationship deepening through reading Srila Prabhupada's purports, and just helping us to make sense of everything that's happening in the world, and to experience his personality through his purports. And we're sharing together. It is really absolutely something that is really nurturing my heart at the moment, and my relationship with Srila Prabhupada.
wow, really. Here we have Manjuali Prabhu. She's saying, "Thank you so much, Guru Charan Padma Devi, for sharing your story, your wisdom. You're such an inspiration to us all by living your faith so authentically and heartfully and truly. I honestly feel that as well. Just and I think that's the point that you highlighted as well. That walking your talk is what is attractive to the second generation. When they begin to see hypocrisy, then it
Yeah,
becomes
I mean, even with my own children, I got to be very careful, because if there's any duplicity in your, and that's what I experienced, like growing up. Like, so I'm saying to parents who are sending their children to a Krishna conscious education, or even encouraging them to be devotees, you got to do it yourself, and you can't tell them one thing. They're so they're really sensitive to that. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, dear Manjueli, I don't know if you've had her for an interview, but she was the first devotee I met when I came to the UK, and she's like more than a friend, she's like a mother, sister, everything to me. So she's incredible.
we have her scheduled. She's coming up
Oh,
soon.
great, great.
Yeah, we've been waiting to accept this invitation, and she's graciously accepted it. So we're very grateful.
Wonderful.
So wonderful, Guru Charnapadma Prabhu. So many beautiful points, and for us, developing that relationship with Srila Prabhupada through his books is what I've really gained from our talk today. Is your dedication to reading Srila Prabhupada's books, distributing them, sharing them, not with as a counselor, but also with the young minds, the little children, in
Mm.
palatable ways. Thank you so much for your life of devotion. You
Oh,
know, I just want to open this up to all our
I'm still
viewers.
Still
If they
trying.
have any questions, comments, please post them in the chat. You know, on a personal level, I wanted to ask you is with having, you know, many a times I hear this from many um, female disciples or Vaishnavis that, you know, they want to do active service. I see that you were a book distributor and you were out and about. And, you know, from what I've heard, book distributors could get away with anything. They were privileged in many ways. Several people have mentioned that, you know, this show and
Well, we pushed them out. Krishna gave us lots of opportunities to whatever go beyond. Go beyond. I won't
right.
say we did lots of daring things. Yeah.
And then you took on this role of a nurturer, you know, with raising your kids. And how was that transition? And any advice you have for, you know, young mothers?
I think we go through different stages in our lives, and even now, I'm actually trying to, look after my body because I pushed it so hard for so many years as well. So I'm trying to find a balance. I think we go through different stages, and we have to see where we're at and do the best we can. Sometimes I look at the service that some of my friends are doing, and I think, oh my gosh, they're doing so much, and what am I doing now? Doing so little bit, um, but I my service is a little different. Like I at the moment, I'm retired from the school, and I'm trying to support other devotees. I'm really nurturing my soul through the reading of Srila Prabhupada's books. So I think, when my children were young, of course, and many other ladies who are listening will know that raising children it's pretty full on, it's pretty full on. So I think you need to go. And so what's so wonderful about Srila Prabhupada is just the effort. Um, I remember when reading that when the devotees were trying to set up a temple in London, the 6 Vyasas that came, and they were so much wanted, like to get a temple, this and that, but Srila Prabhupada was just appreciating. He said, don't worry, just as long as you're trying. So I think we just be honest with ourselves as long as we're trying to do the best we can where we're at, and what we're physically and capable of. But if we're, we have to be honest, in terms of our sadhana, our practice, which can sometimes falter a bit when you've got kids and that. But you got to just pick yourself up and do the best you can. I think that's my message: is be honest with yourself that you are doing the best, and even if that just means chanting your rounds, every day, and doing your household duties or your work, whatever it is. Don't compare yourself to others because, like as we know in the Ramayana, even the whatever little offering we can throw into whatever it is, Krishna's not measuring our service and this one's doing so much, this one's doing so little. He's seeing us all in our capacity and what we're able to do, and as long as we're trying, I think trying the best we can.
That is such a wonderful point and so comforting that, not to compare yourself or your. And Lord Ramchandra was pleased with the squirrel and with Hanuman lifting.
Yeah, I'm just inspired. I mean, when we see what others are doing, we should be inspired to, not we shouldn't feel deflated, but we should be inspired maybe to do a little bit more, or just inspired that somebody's doing it. At this point, I'm not able at the moment to go on the streets. I mean, I am able, but I'm not doing it right now because I'm focusing on other things. So we have different focuses at different times in our lives.
Thank you for highlighting that. We have a couple questions, if that's okay to take. So yeah, we have a question with from Rati Manjari. And she says, I have a question. Once we are aware of the urgency of becoming Krishna conscious and spreading Krishna conscious, and we dive into so many services. How can we take care of maintaining a personal balance?
Mhm.
Share some personal ways on how you are balancing yourself and are applying self-care.
Mhm. Well, that's a really wonderful question, Rati Manjari, because in the early days, not that I was one of the first pioneers, but it was in the days that we were pretty full on, and there wasn't a lot of time for self care. But I think the advice we would give to the younger generations now is that the groundwork has kind of been laid. There's so much more to do. Lord Chaitanya said every town and village. So, yeah, there is an urgency still, but we do want to be fit and healthy. And how can we share with others when we're going to be burnt out ourselves? So yeah, for myself, like I'm just so grateful now that I can go for a walk every day in the fresh air. It helps me also to either chant or to reflect and think. Sometimes I go for a swim. Or I do some pranayama, yoga breathing. I'm really, realizing the need for, and I try to encourage my children as well. Now, of course, they're young adults, but to really, I was talking the other day with some young devotees actually, and I was saying to them because they're young moms and finding it challenging working, or some of them working, serving, and raising small children. And I said, this material world is just all about finding a balance. We're always just like, that is hard work, but we do need to find our balance, whatever that is. And I think it is the challenge of being a devotee being in the material world, in Kali Yuga. But if we have a strong, that strong spiritual foundation, and then we look after the other aspects of our being. So important, and balance is what it's all about. So yeah. Oh, I think you've gone on mute now.
Yes, I am on mute. Apologize. Yeah,
Yeah.
balance. Amazing. We have another devotee here, and I think her name is Kushbu. She is mentioning, she says that we do not have much devotee friends. How can we save ourselves from feeling isolated? Constantly brought up the, uh, impact
Uh,
that your
yeah.
friends and God sisters had on your life.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, obviously, over the last year and a half, it's been a very challenging time for so many. However, never has there been so much association on the internet, through Zoom and, so many discourses and all that kind of thing. I mean, I guess we can make connection. We can reach out and make connection. We can, when it's possible. It's wonderful to go for like a course or a retreat. We need to make friends with younger or older. Of course, our philosophy is that we have three different types: those that we nurture, that we're on the same level, and those that we look up to. So those three types of people in our lives are very, very valuable. So make a friend that you can help on their journey of Krishna consciousness that may be younger than you. And I've got many friends like that I try to support, but we are friends. And then those who are like sisters, so those who are kind of at the same place that you are, through a reading group. I mean, we're doing our reading group just on Zoom now, so we're not, but we share so much and so deeply just on the internet. I mean, I am getting a bit tired of internet. I love the personal association, but that's where we're at now. So we make the best of it. And then find someone in your life that you can be inspired by and inquire from them, as try to milk them in a beautiful way to share with you all that they know. And if you are fortunate enough to have the grace and the meeting of a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and there are still quite a few, even though so many dear God brothers and God sisters have left us. There are still a good many on the planet. So take advantage now before it's too late.
Thank you. That was so beautiful.
And if you don't have any of that, then just pray, because what's so beautiful is that we can have a relationship with Srila Prabhupada or our Guru just by praying and talking to them, and so talk to Krishna, talk to Prabhupada, talk to your Guru, or as your friend. Krishna is our best friend.
Amazing. That was beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and these wonderful.
I wanted to actually, just based on that, I wanted to share that picture. If you're able to share that picture, and I wanted to just because it actually follows on from that question.
I'm going to try to pull it up. And yeah, that is a beautiful, beautiful picture. Give me 1 second and I'm going to pull that picture up. I think you sent it to the Vaishnavi ministry.
Yeah, so this is what we're going to see in a few minutes. It's a beautiful pastime with Mother Yamuna and Srila Prabhupada. And the reason I will let you know, the reason I want to share that with you, because this special role that our gurus, Srila Prabhupada, our Guru Srila Prabhupada, can play in our lives. See if we get that right. So this is a pastime that happened in the UK, and it was at Tittenhurst Manor, which was owned by John Lennon of the Beatles. And Yamuna used to go regularly on morning walks with Srila Prabhupada, just the two of them, but Guru Das would also be filming. He's the one that took the picture. Srila Prabhupada initially didn't want to share the pictures because he was criticized by his godbrothers. He would be criticized perhaps by his godbrothers for walking, but it is something that really touches my heart, because it really shows to me how much love Srila Prabhupada had, not just for Yamuna but for his daughters in Krishna consciousness. So they were walking along on a morning, and Srila Prabhupada was wearing boots, and then he got some pebbles in his boot. So he said, "Yamuna, please take the pebbles out of my boot." And so she leaned over and took the pebbles out of his boot, but then a few paces on, he said, "Oh, Yamuna, there's still more pebbles in my boot." And he says, "Why are the pebbles going in my boot?" And Yamuna says, "Well, Srila Prabhupada, I think the pebbles just really want to be close to your lotus feet." And he said, "Oh," he leaned on Yamuna, with his arm, he leaned on her so it's like a role reversal. He leaned on her while she took the pebbles out of his boot. And he said, no, that is not so." And then they carried on walking. But the reason I wanted to share this beautiful, beautiful image and pastime with you is because Yamuna, she said, and I think it's a meditation that we can all have, that Srila Prabhupada fulfilled so many roles in her life. She said he was a guru, a guide, her hero, a well-wisher, best friend, father, and the deepest object of her love. And I think we can think of Srila Prabhupada in that way, fulfilling all these roles. He is like our best friend, like our father. We can, meditate and pray to him in that way and just see how, it's almost like he was her best. They were walking side by side, even though she was the disciple, but then he was leaning on her. So just a lovely, melange of roles and loving relationship. I think it's just really touching to share that. So we're never alone. We're never alone.
Beautiful, beautiful. And your Rati Manchari was also saying, and I think that you have received the most beautiful name.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I think so too.
Every morning.
Thank you so much, Guru Charana Prabhu. It has been such an honor to have you here.
Well, no, it's an honor for me. You forced me out of my comfort zone and allowed me to, reflect and to share just a little something. And it was such a wonderful thing to do as well. Thank you for all that you're doing to share this special bond of love that so many of Srila Prabhupada's daughters have with Srila Prabhupada. And as I say, I'm just like holding onto their feet, onto their ends of their saris, hoping I could make a little bit of advancement if I enough. So.
We're holding on to all of your feet. Please don't let us go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again. And we are going to continue this journey in a couple weeks. So every 2 weeks, we come with another wonderful disciple of Srila Prabhupada.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to listen to the black ones as well.
So thank you so much, Guru Charan Padma Prabhu. Thank you so much to all our viewers, to all the devotees that have joined, for your wonderful questions, comments, appreciation. Please continue to shower your love, your mercy, your kindness, and give us your association. Guru Charana Padma Prabhu shared about how the ashram really touched and enhanced her Krishna consciousness. From the Vaishnavi ministry in North America, we're really striving and we're working diligently or trying to develop such support systems of ashrams all over North America. So I'm reaching out to all of our viewers here. If you have any interest and time to support this effort, please email us on vaishnaviministryna@gmail.com. I'll have Shama Saki, please, if you can flash the screen. You can write to me, contact me personally or the ministry. And let's make that a reality, that there is association for all the Vaishnavis. All the three associations are present for us to advance in our Krishna consciousness. So thank you so much, everyone, for your active participation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.